All right, let's dive into the philosophy of Pava. This is really a guide for anyone trying to deal with the mental overload of today's world. If you've ever felt like your own head is just way too noisy, then this is definitely for you.
So let's just jump right in with the big question Pava's philosophy forces us to ask. And really think about this for a second. Is your mind a safe place to live? Is it a peaceful home? Or is it more like a chaotic prison? Pava's whole point is that for most of us, sadly, it's become the prison.
So the big question is, how did we even get here? Pava kicks things off by pinpointing a feeling that, let's be honest, is pretty much universal these days, that feeling of being trapped, just totally exhausted by our own thoughts. So yeah, let's dig into where all this anxiety and distraction is coming from.
Okay, this is a really key idea from Pava. Most of us go through life thinking, I am my mind, right? But he says, hold on, that's not right. The mind isn't you. He says it's more like an ancient piece of software, an inherited tool you get when you're born. He even calls it the matrix, or samsara, this mental universe that feels totally real, but is actually keeping you on the outside looking in.
And what's the main job of this mental software? Well, it's to create the ego. It cooks up this really powerful illusion that we're all these separate individual people, often competing against each other. Pava argues that this one belief, this idea of separation, is the root of the whole trap. It's what cuts us off from something way, way deeper. So, if the mind is a prison, what are the bars made of? Well, according to Pava, its number one tool for keeping us locked up is its obsession with time. He basically calls time the enemy of being present, because it's always yanking us out of the one and only moment that's actually real. And it works in two ways, right? It's this two-pronged attack. On one hand, it drags you back into the past, making you fixate on things that have already happened. And what does that do? It creates depression. On the other hand, it slingshots you into the future, making you project and worry about all the things that might happen. And boom, that's where anxiety comes from. But here's the kicker. Both are illusions. The past and the future, they're just constructs in your head. They don't exist anywhere else. Pava is super clear on this. The only true reality, the only place you'll find peace or any real spiritual energy is right now, in this exact moment. Okay, so if the mind is the problem, what's the solution? And this is where Pava's whole philosophy gets, well, kind of weird, but in a good way. The path he lays out is completely the opposite of how we're taught to fix things. It's totally counterintuitive. He talks about something called non-action, which is a lot like the Taoist idea of Wu Wei. You can think of it as the art of effortless action. The idea is that true reconnection with yourself doesn't happen when you're grinding away trying to solve a problem. No, it happens in idleness, in silence, when you just stop. So what does that actually look like? Well, it's a simple three-step path. First, stop trying to know more. Just stop cramming your head with facts. Second, practice doing nothing. And not just doing nothing, but being okay with it, being content. And third, just let wisdom find you in that silence. It's not about seeking it, it's about creating the space for it to arrive. And just to be clear, this isn't about destroying your ego or getting rid of your personality. Not at all. The goal is to put the ego in its proper place, to put it in service of the soul. It's like shifting it from being the tyrannical CEO of your life to just being a helpful employee, a tool that your deeper self can use. Now, Pava frames this as more than just a nice idea for a calmer life. He sees it as an urgent, absolutely necessary tool for survival. He believes this ancient wisdom is becoming critical for what's coming next. And he actually makes a pretty bold prophecy about our age. He predicts that we're headed for a period of maximum mental exhaustion, specifically between 2026 and 2030. The information overload is just going to become too much, pushing us to a collective breaking point. It's going to force a turn inward, whether we like it or not. And you can see why, right? Just look at this number. Today, in a single day, we're hit with the same amount of information that someone 50 years ago got in 3 months. That is insane. Pava calls it an indigestion of knowledge. Our minds just can't keep up. They weren't designed for this kind of fire hose. But here's the silver lining to his prophecy. He believes this crisis, this massive burnout, is actually the thing that's going to force us to change. It's the catalyst that will push us to seek silence. It'll be the thing that finally makes our minds a place we can live in, peacefully. So to really wrap our heads around all this, Pava gives us a really simple but honestly brilliant analogy for this new way of being. I love this. He says, imagine your mind is a noisy radio. It's always tuned to old news from the past or some catastrophic prediction about the future. And the ego, that's the announcer, the voice you mistakenly believe is you. Pava's whole practice is just learning how to turn down the volume until you finally notice the silence of the room you're actually in.
Because in that silence, you make a huge discovery. You realize you're not the voice on the radio. You never were. You are the vast, quiet space where the radio is playing. You're the silence where the real music of life actually happens.
And that leaves us with a final question to think about. A really powerful one. What would you hear if you just turned down the volume? What's waiting for you in that quiet space?